let's hop right into it. But before I do so, thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Alonzo, and welcome back to another video. In my recent video, I talked about common sense and how it's subjective, in my opinion, and what it meant to myself, and how the term is kind of misconstrued. And throughout my video, I reference social media a lot, as I do with most of my help loads. And at my most recent video, at the end of it, I said that this video would be about social media. So let's pick up where I left off. But I'll start with the story from yours truly, of course. So I joined the military 4 years ago out of Albany, Georgia, small town. And when I left home, I was 18, and my first duty station was Hawaii. In my first video, I talked about the dangers of comfort zones. So, being from Georgia and growing up, I got comfortable. And when I had to leave over 5,000 miles away, I was exposed to new things, new experiences, and new people. And this kind of opened my eyes, and it kind of got me to thinking about some of the things that I had been conditioned to growing up and hearing in the echo chamber of my hometown. So social media comes into place where when I was in Hawaii, a lot of the time I would see people online who weren't in the military, and I would think, well, they're living it up, like right, they're living their best lives. And it wasn't until recently, so 4 years ago, I'm just now figuring this out. So recently, I was at home in February, and I was talking to a friend of mine, close friend, and we were discussing people and how they portray their lives to be on social media. So let's get into it. Now, if you're not careful and you get lost scrolling through the various apps that occupy your phone space, it's quite easy to feel inadequate. And I'm able to admit that as a young man and looking back at my former self, I a lot of the time would feel inadequate because I felt like I wasn't doing enough and I wasn't living up to the potential that some people portrayed to be living uh behind the phone screen. And it wasn't until I kind of came to the realization that people portray what they want their lives to look like on social media. Now, this is not breaking news. This isn't news. This isn't the cure to COVID. This isn't the cure to cancer. It's simply my observation. So, why is it that people try to portray, I guess, lies on social media? I wouldn't say a lie, it's more of a facade, right? Well, it's to, I guess, signal what they intend to be. And what people don't realize was, well, don't take it serious, right? A lot of the times people they say social media isn't real, social media isn't real. And in fact, it is in fact a real place with real people and real feelings and real opinions online. And these opinions can sometimes be misconstrued or they can spread misinformation or they can have malice and hate, love and joy, and all the emotions that we tend to equate to humans. Now, I'm not certified or licensed to talk about human behavior or the mind, but I am licensed because I'm a human and I have my own experiences and I can speak on those experiences, right? So, why does all this matter? Why am I telling you guys all these random things, right? So, back to my original talking point, the dangers of social media, especially for a young adult. So I'm not as wise, but I have had a decent amount of life experiences that have prepared me for this conversation. And in one of my earlier videos, I mentioned how social media would have me doing things subconsciously that I wasn't aware of, but I was in a sense. I was trying not to make it obvious, but to myself, it was obvious. It's obvious that I'm trying to portray a persona that's not even my personality type. I'm not one to go out every weekend. I'm not one to smoke. I don't drink. I don't do all these other things that people in my peer group are doing. And I don't want to feel like the odd man out. Well, I didn't want to feel like the odd man out. It was only recently that I realized that I'm myself and we are all special. You're special too. So it's no need to try to keep up because what does keeping up get you? Where does it get you? Does it get you in debt? Maybe. Does it get you to make life altering decisions? Maybe. The human mind itself is one big complex system. So it's hard to understand. If there are any therapists out there, I would love to chat it up about why people are so entertained or connected to social media. Now, what I just said about entertained. I understand that people are naturally drawn to social media because it's entertainment. With the endless videos of skits and DIYs and ASMR videos, it's easy to get lost into a cycle of scrolling and scrolling and scrolling until you become a zombie in a sense. Recently, I was around a group of friends, and I noticed that they were kind of glued to their phones. No one was able to look up and have a conversation. It was sending memes when the person is not even 2 feet away from you that you could turn your phone around. These things, these supercomputers that we are so much glued to. Now, right now, I ask you, I challenge you to go in, check your screen time. What's your average screen time? Drop a comment down below and let me know what your daily screen time average is. Now, that's a long time. I know people who have daily averages of 9, 10, even 12 hours per day glued to your phone screen. And when telling people their screen time averages, they're blown back at how much time they can lose scrolling through the various social media apps. And I'm constantly having these conversations with my sister, my friends, and my family about even my feelings of feeling inadequate and feeling left out or feeling left behind. But only you know what you're doing in your free time to separate yourself from your peers, if that's what you're trying to do. Now, there's some people who just don't care. Some people, they don't try to keep up. They don't even have certain apps because they know it's a toxic wasteland of people trying to one up each other. Why do we try to one up each other? Well, as humans, it's natural to be in competition. Like in a wild, I'm not comparing us to animals, but we do have some instincts similar to that of animals. We are the apex predator in the world. So when you stand out, I guess you kind of make yourself the prize, the trophy in a sense. It's like a dopamine shot when someone posts an accomplishment and you get 5,000 likes and 300 shares. You feel like the king of the world in a sense. Now, the social comparison theory suggests that people base their self worth, relationships, and even social status off that of others. Now, this is very telling and it's kind of obvious when you're scrolling through social media apps. You're always hit with the next latest story or the next story time somewhere. It's always people trying to one up and over exaggerate details of their story in order to gain your attention, which I must admit is a great marketing strategy. So, why is it that we need to compare? It's innate for us to base our worth of what others think because this could lead to glory, fame, an endless amount of opportunities that come with it. We all seen the Hawk Tour girl, right? Going on tour and all these different things, and every time she's mentioned, she gets a little boost in fame, which is great for her, Kim. I'm wishing her nothing but the best. Now, why do people hate on others who, I guess, get these random opportunities, right? I'm sure you all see the videos of people with their head down there saying, on my way to work because I didn't want to dance on TikTok and back in 20 something or doing something because I don't want to start an OnlyFans account and all these different things. People are subconsciously comparing themselves to the success of others based off what they wouldn't do because it goes against their values and their beliefs. Now, this conflict that's going on in their heads, they're not identifying the root cause of this. The root cause is that they're seeing too many people become successful off things that they wouldn't do, and now they're kind of having second thoughts of, well, maybe if I did do that, I could become famous. Could you? I don't know. It's only one way to find out. Now, I'm not saying go against your beliefs and your values to try to get a little piece of fame or some money or an opportunity. But what I am saying is we must first identify the root cause of what's causing us so much, let's say, self doubt. Because I've only talked about what could positively happen when using social media, but I haven't talked about the negative effects of being exposed too much to social media. Now, one of my favorite public figures, I'm not gonna mention his name, he was talking about the negative impacts of giving children phones at an early age. Now, I'm gonna piggyback off that and say the negative effects of adults understanding social media at a later age. Because once you understand something, hindsight then becomes 2020. Now is, well, if I was doing this, then maybe I wouldn't be in this situation. And these can then lead to depression, anxiety, or add to your already existing anxiety and depression. Because what you see online is a bunch of joy and smiles and happy faces, but you don't see the whole editing process behind what goes into it. Especially with the rise in AI and all this different technology, people are going to become more resourceful at how they market themselves and how they become successful. And this could lead to self doubt because not everyone is going to understand how to do it, and that's okay. There was this post on the app X recently. A guy made, he said men aren't supposed to see this amount of bad women, and I thought, and I was like, maybe he's right. But then again, it's about self control. Self control also plays a part in this because he was like, our grandparents and parents, they didn't see this many good looking people, so they didn't have so many options. But then again, that's the we were projecting what we think they didn't see. We don't know if they went out or if they traveled a lot, and maybe they did. But self control is that's a whole nother topic. And if they did see these bad women or good looking men or whatever you're into, it's about what you do. What you do in your own spare time, as I mentioned in my integrity video, that's totally on you. So if you can't control yourself around good looking people, then how can you control yourself around a limited amount of people? It all plays into itself. Now earlier I mentioned how some people say don't take it serious. So Alonzo, you shouldn't take the ex post serious. He was making a joke. Well, it did lead to some discourse and people they got to having their theories. And that's the beauty of social media. Some people they can take an idea and run with it and create this whole different narrative about what they believe something is and what it isn't. Now, some people may say, well, simply get off your phone, go outside, touch some grass, right? And I try to do that as much as possible because I like to be connected to the world around me. Now, that's easy to say, but when everything is so digital now, it's hard to not be on your phone. And I'm going to admit that it's pretty hard to not be on your phone because in order to keep up with what's going on or get the latest and breaking news, you have to log on to some social media site. Now, social media is this own term for a numerous amount of things that go into it. It's like a monopoly in a sense. One company can own something and they break off into these different branches, right? So why why is it hard to not take it serious? Well, because we're humans. So the first thing we'll see, we're gonna want to believe, and that's where fact checking comes into place, and that's how you don't have misinformation when you go and check the source. Now, there are a lot of spaces where people spread misinformation. An example of the spread of misinformation could be with the recent assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. A lot of people they're coming up with their own conspiracy theories. Now, they're interesting to listen to because it's just an opinion. And that's the beauty of this country because we're all entitled to our own opinions. Now, you don't have to respect someone's opinion, but you also don't have to disrespect the person making the opinion, because then you move into narcissist behavior because you want your opinion to be the only opinion. So why is it so hard to respect each other's opinion? Who knows? I may talk about it in my next video. Stay tuned to find out. But that's all for now, guys. In my next video, I'm going to try to stay on this talking point because social media is such a big topic that there are a lot of places I could go. I can zig or I can zag. But until next time, guys, peace. Thanks for stopping by.